What's good, y'all? It's that boy, Easy Millions, and I'm your host of that boy, ETV. You already know, man. We are back on Marvel Rivals, and we're here with another character breakdown. And as you can see in the background, it's for that girl, the Invisible Woman, baby. So let's get right into this. And again, we're talking about the Invisible Woman. She is a strategist with a health pool of 275, a movement speed of 6 meters a second, and a difficulty of 4 out of 5, man. She does have the support/control role. Now, as a strategist, she brings an impressive mix of healing, battlefield control, and damage capabilities that make her a top pick in the current meta. While she's not the most beginner-friendly character due to her complex cooldown management and positioning requirements, mastering her kit is incredibly rewarding. Her ability to turn invisible, control enemy positioning, and provide clutch heals while dealing consistent damage makes her both fun to play and highly effective in matches, man. Now, Invisible Woman, I'm going to say this. She's probably going to be one of the healers that most people will probably gravitate towards simply because her attack is able to, well, when we get to her attack, you'll see why, but her attack is able to deal damage and heal at the same time, so it'll allow people to not really have to try too hard to do both, and you kind of feel like you won't have to give up too much on the damage side. But she will be if you want to give her a specific role, she is probably the best at being what is called a pocket healer, and this is the healer that goes off with probably the one that pushes the front line. He'll run off with that person or with the tank as they're attacking to keep that one person alive, but she will also be able to attack while healing at the same time, so that's great. Other than that, she will be a backline healer, throwing in heals while doing damage, helping out her team, man. So let's go ahead and get into these abilities, man. The first thing we're going to talk about is going to be one of her passives, and that's going to be called Covert Advance. And with this, you automatically turn invisible when out of combat. And when out of combat, you begin to heal at 20 heal a second. And this triggers 5 seconds once out of combat, man. And as you can see, once you come out of combat, you will go invisible. And while invisible, you will heal over time. This is actually a very good ability as it allows her to have a self-heal. And any healer with a self-heal is good to have. With it being 5 seconds out of combat, that's not too long, but you do make sure that you have some space in between you and the enemy before you attempt to get this. But once you have it, you will be fully invisible and begin to heal, so this is great. Now let's move on to her first ability, which is going to be called the Veiled Step. And with this, you double jump that triggers instantly, and it will cause you to go invisible. And you will have a 6-second cooldown on this. And as you can see, when you jump up, you will jump up and trigger your invisibility automatically, and you'll begin getting all the things like healing over time and all that good stuff like you normally would if you were out of combat. So this is just another way to quickly get into invisibility, and once again, you get all of the benefits of being invisible while you have that up there, man. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is going to be her primary attack, and that's going to be called Aura Projection. And with this, you launch his force orbs that pierce heroes and return to Invisible Woman, damaging enemies and healing teammates. This does 20 hit per damage. It does 40 healing per damage. The fire rate is 0.5 seconds per shot. The range is 30 meters. The projectile speed is 120 meters a second. This has a 10 ammo count, and there's no damage fall off on this. So her basic attack is a lot like a boomerang, and as you can see when you're using it, you will be able to actually heal your teammates while damaging enemies at the meters. This is why I'm saying that she'll be good as a pocket healer and just as a backline healer in general, because she can go ahead and get heals while attacking the enemy at the same time. And when everyone's usually grouped up fighting, this would be nothing but easy heals, easy damage, easy character to use right there. So her primary attack, in my opinion, is very, very good. It does pretty decent damage, nothing too special. So it does about 40 damage if you hit it on the initial hit and on its return. So you do about 40 damage per hit on it. It's nothing too special there, but it is pretty good as far as making sure that you go ahead and get both healing and damage out, man. Now we're going to move on to our next ability, which would be called the Guardian Shield. And with this, you create a protective shield on allies that block damage and heal nearby enemies, man. With this, your shield health is going to be 300. The healing is 50 health a second. The range is a 3-meter radius. The slow rate will be 30% for 3 seconds. The recovery is 50 health a second. And the cooldown is 6 seconds if it gets destroyed. And as you can see with this, when you pop it, you will throw a shield in front of your teammates that will heal them over time while protecting them from any incoming damage. Now, this ability here is going to be the main one you use as you're sitting in the back line when someone's further up ahead of you that you can't get with your primary attack. You will go ahead and use this to place a shield in front of them and give them a heal point to go to. And this will also heal any other allies in the area, man. So this is a really good ability right here, especially being in the back. All you have to do is pay attention to those that need it. Go ahead and set up the shield, and usually once the person sees the shield, they go ahead and sit behind it. Now we're going to move on to the next ability, which will be called Sonic Vortex. And with this, you create a damaging vortex that pulls enemies towards its center. With this, it does 35 damage a second. The duration is for 4 seconds. The range is 5-meter radius. The slow is between 0 and 50% in the center. The projectile speed is going to be 80 meters a second. And this has a 12-second cooldown, man. Now, as you can see, when you throw this, it will come out and create a vortex that will continue to do damage over time and will actually pull enemies in. Now, you can actually go ahead and detonate this early, as once you release it, you can just hit the button again and you can go ahead and release it like in the middle of the air if you would like, or on the ground, anywhere you like to see. But it will go ahead and pull enemies in and do damage consistently and over time. Now, this ability here is very, very good. I think you will actually be using this a lot, and with her being a backline healer, she can go ahead and throw this out, especially on weaker enemies or just into the group of enemies to just go ahead and deal out a chunk of damage. Again, her being a backline, all her abilities allow her to heal from the backline while still being effective from back there and not having to actually put herself into harm's way. So this ability here again will be used when to throw into groups and especially on weaker targets. And on aerial targets, you can actually throw this up there, hit it again, and detonate it while in the air to go ahead and knock out aerial targets, man. Now, the next ability we're going to talk about is going to be called Force Physics. In this, you manipulate sonic energy to pull or push enemies, man. And with this, the damage is going to be 55. The push range is 12 meters. The pull range is 7 meters. The area of effect is going to be 1.5 meter radius and a 30-meter length. And the cooldown is 8 seconds, man. And as you can see, when you pop this, you will get the option to either push the enemy away or you can pull them forward. Now, with this ability here, you can just go ahead and get a whole lot of cheeky plays with this, as you can do Doctor Strange portals over edges and pull them through, similar to how Spider-Man does. And with the push, you can go ahead and make plays on pushing enemies off the convoy or off the point for an overtime to go ahead and get that dub for the team. I also really like this ability as a get off me tool. When someone does actually push into the back line, you can actually use this to push them off of you consistently, allowing you to be able to hit them in a very good range for your normal attack. So that's very good as well. Now, the next thing we actually need to talk about is going to be called Agile Strike. And for this, you're going to release a 3-hit combo with the third attack will launch up enemies in the front. And with this ability right here, as you can see, it is her melee attack. And with it, when you do it, it will pop them up in the air there on the third hit. And this will take actually about 3 full hits of these to go ahead and get a kill on it. But again, if someone is up close, I don't really think that you will be using this ability very often, as for the most part, you will just go ahead and push them back off you and then go ahead and use your primary attack to go ahead and finish attacking them from there. Now, moving on to her final ability here, which will be her ult, and that is called the Invisible Boundary. And with this, you create an invisible dome that hides allies and provides healing. And with this, it provides 165 healing a second. The duration will be 8 seconds. The range will be 10 meters. The radius is 40 meters with a 40 meter height. The slow is at 55% for 1 second. And the energy cost is 4,000, man. And as you can see, when you pop this ability, you will get the image here on the screen. And when you pop it, you will go ahead and create a field in which any allies inside of it will heal. And anybody outside cannot actually see in. Now, this ult here is very, very good as it's a big AoE heal. And a lot of times, especially for the convoy or for domination, you can go ahead and pop this in that area. This will also help anyone on the point be avoiding you as far as having to go ahead and be hit by any type of projectiles from any enemies that might happen to be up in the air and not actually in the fight. You can go ahead and use this to make sure that they have to actually come into the fight in order to attack anybody, man. So this ult right here is very, very good in my opinion. I think that it'll be very useful, and at the right time, you will go ahead and lay it down, and your team will take full advantage of this. Now, the last thing we got to talk about is going to be them team ups, and she does have one. Hers being called Fantastic Force, and it is with Mr. Fantastic. And with this, you get the 15 meter healing bonus, and Mr. Fantastic will give him a healing shield that will grant him bonus health. And once his health is gone, it will then decay over time. This right here is very good as it does grant you a 15% healing boost while allowing Mr. Fantastic to go ahead and get that bonus health, allow him to last a lot longer in fights and being that duelist tank that he's meant to be, man. Now, overall and all in all, Invisible Woman is the backline healer that everyone probably wants to play. She's able to go ahead and heal and get damage at the same time while being able to just aim in one time and not having to worry about, having to do one of the other. While all her abilities allow her to stay in the back line and effectively heal her teammates and do damage at the same time while not having to expose herself to damage herself. So, in my opinion, I think that if you were thinking about playing a strategist, this might be the one for you. Probably hard to get her at this point because I know it took me forever to finally get games with her. But it's definitely someone you should go ahead and pick up and try and play. But if anyone else knows any tips and tricks that I might have forget or didn't mention here, go ahead and let me know and post them down in them comments, man. But this has been another one of them character breakdowns, and I hope y'all enjoyed that, man. But as always, please like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, become a supporter, and catch me streaming on Facebook Gaming and Twitch at That Boy ETV. Now, catch you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.